Okay, this is an introduction to trigonometry and trigonometric ratios. And trigonometry is all about right angle triangles. Well, it starts with right angle triangles, and we're going to make fractions out of the sides of that right angle triangle, and we care about the angles. So it's actually angles and fractions made out of the sides of a right angle triangle. That's what trigonometry is. Now, I want you to imagine yourself inside a triangle. There's a little person inside a triangle. Say you had a way of measuring an angle down here, and you knew this was 45 degrees. Well, if that was 90 degrees, the other angle would be 45 degrees. And these two sides would be exactly the same. That's the only way it could work. But say, anyways, you know this angle is 45 degrees. Now, the first thing when you're doing trigonometry, identify the angle that you're looking at and make sure you know what angle you're looking at there, because if you're doing trigonometry, it's all about an angle. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is you need to name the sides. Well, the first side you need to name is the long side of the right angle triangle. And see this little box here? That means that's 90 degrees. And the name of the side that's opposite the 90 degrees is called the hypotenuse. That's called the hypotenuse. That's real important. That's how you get started. Now we're talking about this angle here, 45 degrees, and this side right here, next to the 45 degrees, has got a special name. We call it the adjacent side. And this side over here is called the opposite side because it's on the other side of 45 degrees. So that's your first job, to name the sides. Okay. Now, say you were inside this triangle and you measured the side. You actually took a ruler and you saw that it was 2 meters, and you measured this one and it was 2 meters. Well, if you measured this one here, you'd find that the length of it would be 2,2, 82.8 meters, 82 centimeters and 8 millimeters. That's exactly how long this thing would be. Okay, now what is trigonometry? Well, trigonometry is just making fractions out of the sides of this triangle. The first fraction we're going to make is we're going to take the opposite side, which is 2 meters, and we're going to put it over the hypotenuse, which is 2,828. And that is called the sine. So if this is a 45-degree triangle, which it is, you can actually make this triangle if you'd like, and measure the angle. You'd see it's 45 degrees. Then the sine of 45 degrees would be 2 over 2,828. Well, because this is isosceles, the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, it's got a special name. We call it the cosine. And when you say cosine, you have to be talking about an angle. It's the cosine of 45 degrees, which is exactly the same, 2 over 2,828. And the last one would be the tangent of 45 degrees. Well, that's always the opposite side over the adjacent side. No matter what the angle is here, if you make a right angle triangle, the opposite over the adjacent side, that ratio is called tangent. Well, 2 over 2, it turns out the tangent of 45 degrees is 1. Well, you don't need real triangles. Your calculator knows the ratio of these triangles. It knows that if you make a tangent of 45 degrees, the ratio of the opposite over the adjacent will always equal 1 over 1, or 1. That's when you press tangent 45, it equals 1. And if you go sine of 45, you'll get 0.707, which is exactly this 2 over 2,8282. The other little numbers are a little bit different because this isn't incredibly accurate here. To get it even more accurate to the sine of 45. Okay, that's the basic idea of what sine, cosine, and tangent are. Just fractions made out of the sides of a right angle triangle. Okay, I hope that helped. We're going to look and see that it doesn't matter how big the triangle is, we get the same trigonometric ratio. That's what we're going to do in the next video. Okay, but we'll leave it at that.